So as people come on, we'll just if you guys mute yourself so we don't get the background noise. We were mentioning that a little bit before, but we can also mute you as well, so we make sure we can hear Linda. We're looking forward to having a great bunch of information today on everything that's that you can share with us about what Google's doing and what we should be doing.
I usually like to give about 2 minutes for some late joiners to pop in, so we're going to give it another minute here before I go ahead and start.
You bet. I'm sure we're all karate guys, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's perfectly on time. We're supposed to be. We're supposed to be disciplined and be exactly on time for everything, but I think that's right, isn't it?
They're also business owners, right? So.
That's right. So yeah, let's give a few more minutes. We got quite a few people that registered for this, so hopefully we don't get over full.
Scott, can we not present to everyone?
So Master Karpiak, you're presenting to everybody. Here, I'll fix that.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, as we're getting started here today, I'm really excited. We're really fortunate to have Linda here to talk about Google. I mean, Rev Marketing and Go2Karate is a Google partner, so we will follow up a little bit about that and everything that we covered on the emails. We'll go in a lot of detail. If anybody has any questions, for those of you who are on here so far, make some notes on them, and then we'll try to cover those at the end after Linda goes through everything that she's got ready to present. So that way we can make sure we stay on track today. So we'd love to have questions. The more the better. Just write them down so that we have them, and then we can ask them verbally. That's better than using the chat box, because we're going to be mostly talking, so it'll be interactive and we can actually talk to all you guys online. So it'll give you the best response if you just save those questions and then ask us. If something's just killing you, then to ask at that time, then you can ask it.
Well, it's 3 minutes after, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do want to thank everybody for attending today, and I'll accept some others as they come in a little bit later. But thank you to Rev Marketing, to you, and Go2Karate for inviting us. Just to clarify, those are the same organization as a Google partner. So thank you very much for that. My name is Linda, and I'm with Google's agency development team. We work with Go2Karate Rev Marketing with their AdWords campaigns, helping them out in managing those and making sure that campaigns are being optimized, and helping them with any questions or troubleshooting or enrolling them in betas, things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. Today, we'd like to talk about 4 basic topics. First, why do you need to be online? What's the urgency? Why do we need to be online now? And with all the marketing channels you have to be online, why would you choose Google as your marketing channel there? And what are the compelling reasons why you should work with a Google partner? So jumping into that, why do you need to be online? Seems to be pretty self-explanatory, but not to everybody. First of all, I don't know about you guys, but this is me in the morning. Now, granted, I don't have a beard. My nightstand isn't quite that clear and uncluttered. And I never wake up with that much sunlight in my room. But my phone is the first thing I look at in the morning. It's the last thing I put down at night. That's true for me because it is also my phone is also my alarm clock. So I'm making sure it's plugged in and I have juice on it at night, and I wake up with it in the morning. And in between those two events, typically the average consumer, the average cell phone, smartphone owner looks at their phone about 150 times a day. Now, I've heard commercials where somebody else is referencing 80 to 85. I'm like, no way. If you think about your own activity and how often you look at your phone, that's way low. In fact, 150 that we estimate is actually gone up to the 200 range, but I'm sticking with the 150 to be conservative. Those moments that we look at in between using the morning and nighttime, we call those micro moments. These are moments when somebody needs to, they're on their device, they have a need, they have what we call an intent-rich moment, that they picked up their phone for a specific reason. Typically, there's going to be four key moments that you want to be in charge of. These are game-changing moments. These are the moments of I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, I want to buy. Defined the I want to know moments. This is when somebody's researching for something. Think about your typical family that's joining up for classes. They might be looking at what are their options, who's offering classes in their area. They're going to be doing that research. I want to go. Maybe they're looking for where it is. Where is the facility located? I want to do is when they're trying out something new. This happened for me. Perfect example was I had a handyman scheduled to come out and install a dishwasher for me, and he no-showed. And I'm sitting there on a Saturday afternoon with a dishwasher, no handyman, and I want to get this done. I've got dirty dishes sitting in the sink. So I turned to YouTube. All step-by-step how to install a dishwasher, and I got it done that afternoon by myself. No handyman involved. So YouTube, those are I want to do moments. And then the I want to buy moments, this is the moment of conversion. This is when they're ready to sign up. They're ready to sign on the dotted line or put the money down on the table. So the takeaway, how do we take advantage of these moments? Number one, you have to be there. You have to know what the micro moments are that your potential student is going to be looking for. And then you want to be there online when those moments occur. And you want to also be useful to them. You want to give them content that is going to be relevant to them, that's going to, if you could mute your microphones as you join the call, that'd be great. Thanks, everyone. You want to make sure that you're providing relevant information to them when they're searching for it. You don't want to give them inexact information. If they're looking for your location, you want to provide it. If they're looking for, how to contact you, a phone number, a text message, anything along those lines, you want to be useful to them. Give them the information they're looking for, and do it quickly. People are very impatient these days. You want to give them very quickly the answers that they're looking for in a seamless manner. Why now? What's the urgency on being online right now? Every year, there's trillions of searches made globally on Google. In fact, I looked at the Internet Live stats today, and as of 9 a.m., there were 1.9 million searches at 9 a.m. Pacific time today. So you got to be there now. I mean, granted, there aren't 1.9 million people looking for karate services in your area, but the fact that people are they're using our services, they're using our products. 40,000 searches in the U.S. every second. And I think this is old data. When I looked at the numbers from today, it looks like there's more than 100,000 searches being done on Google every day.
Yeah, and Linda, isn't it true that Google represents, and maybe you don't want to say it because you don't want to talk about Google in such a light, but I think it's 80 or 90% of web searches now, right? So if you're not, this is the dominant way that people are looking for you online.
Yeah, between Google and YouTube, we dominate completely the search. Those are the two top search engines in the world. Ever talk about the competitors and what the numbers are? I'm so focused into the Google world, I can tell you what our numbers are. Like I said, 1.9 million searches as of 9 a.m. this morning, Pacific time. So This represents a huge opportunity. These are these people that are searching, they're the digital equivalent of somebody raising their hand saying, hey, I want information. I want to know about this. I want micro moments. Those are people raising their hand saying, look at me. I need something here. And we know that over half of the searches that people are doing happen on mobile. This is a change that's happened in the last, maybe 3 quarters, 2 to 3 quarters, depending on the vertical, of course. Different industries have different search behaviors, but over half of the searches currently globally are being done on mobile devices. In some industries, we can go as high as 70 and almost 80% that mobile is the vehicle of choice for people to do their searches. So let's take a walk and figure out how somebody might use this information. So this is Susan. She's what I guess in the past we might have called a soccer mom, but let's call her a karate mom today. Maybe her son is got friends now that have joined and started karate, so she's interested in getting him into some classes. She doesn't have any experience in this, but she's also thinking maybe she might like to take the class for herself. Where does she get her information? How does she go? In the past, you might have had the phone book to look at, but that's really pretty old school and passe these days. So she's going to turn to Google. And this is what our trends show over the last year. Different searches for example, karate classes, karate for kids, self-defense classes. These are the trends we've seen nationwide over the last year. Self-defense classes have had a spike. That could be relative to maybe a national media or news story that came out. Maybe there was an abduction or somebody, some sort of national news that had an impact on that. We see these trends in various industries. So this is the typical example, though, of what searches are being done and how they relate to each other. So Susan is going to go to the channel that's most convenient for her. If she just picked her son up at school, maybe she's sitting there waiting, to pick him up, and in her car in that line in front of the elementary school, she might use her mobile phone. Maybe she's home in front of her desktop or laptop computer. She might use that site if he's come up to her and says, hey, Mom, I need to sign up for karate, or I want to. She might walk there. She might go to the facility, and she might, of course, call you on the phone. And messaging. Text messaging now is the most popular app on everybody's phones these days. So messaging is definitely an option. We have a new means of covering that.
And Linda, so I mean, one of the things that upshot for like our karate owners here is that they've really got to be able to handle all of those venues. I think a lot of people, they think that if they email somebody that's the end of it, and they email them once and they think that they're done. But really, they've got to be able to manage all those different types of media and whatever's coming up, which you guys are also kind of on the edge of whatever new media is coming up that they have to try to communicate by.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about being there, being quick, and being responsive. If you're not responsive, Woody Allen has a famous saying, 80% of life is showing up, right? So if you're not online, if you're not present now when that person is doing that search, who is going to be at the top of that search results page? If you're not there, somebody else is. It's going to be your competitor, right? So why Google? Why choose Google? We know that there's lots of media outlets available for you, social media, other search engines, etc. But why choose Google? It seems to me to be self-explanatory, but we know that there's choices that you have. Google has over 1 billion users in each of our products. So between Google Search, YouTube, Google Maps, Gmail, Android, the Android platform itself, Google Play, and Chrome, each of those globally, we have 1 billion users. Again, we know that in each market, that doesn't mean that there's 1 billion people searching for your industry in your area, but we do dominate all of those platforms. We reach 90% of the internet users with our Google Display Network. The Display Network is where you might see an ad show up on a blog or a website that allows, the publisher of the website allows advertising content on it. So if somebody has a blog or a website devoted to maybe exercise or personal fitness or something along those lines, and you can have an ad show up there. Those are the 2 million websites and apps that we allow that allow advertising. There's 500 billion moments across devices that we track, that our products are involved in. Those are everything from app downloads to clicking on a search ad to engaging with a website. So we have a lot of visibility across anything that's done online. Marketing traditionally has been in TV, broadcast media, newspapers, magazines, radio. However, consumer behavior is changing. Consumer behavior consistently now is going towards digital. And what we see is that advertising spend is not keeping up with where consumer trends are at. So we want to make sure that you're aligning your advertising spend with the channels where your customers are consuming that information.
So if I, sorry to interrupt you, if I understand this right then, so like 42.8% of people are actually on some sort of digital media, but the ad spend that typical marketing companies or typical marketing spend is only 24.9%. So the trend has gone to more digital, but companies are still spending money essentially in the wrong places. They're marketing to TV looks about the same, but radio, newspapers, and magazines are basically dying out, and they're still spending money on those things.
Exactly. And if we can have our guests mute their microphones, that would be great.
Yeah. So you guys, let me be. Hey guys, turn your microphones off if you're not mute, and we'll mute for you if we find you. But please mute because we get a lot of background noise. It'll be harder for everybody to hear. Okay.
And then just really quickly, Linda, do you have anybody else who's asking to get in? I just got 2 messages that said they were having issues logging in.
I do not. I accept the last person.
Okay, just wanted to verify that. Thank you.
Yeah. So exactly, Greg, what we're seeing is, for example, the New York Times. In the past, people were reading it, the physical copy of that media. Now it's being consumed increasingly online. I know I'm here in Arizona, and I get it in my email every day. I don't get a physical newspaper. So that's a transition that they've successfully made from the print version to the analog or to the digital version. But that's not very common amongst a lot of other media. For example, people are still advertising on radio, on TV, whereas we know that there's a lot of people that have never had a cable subscription. And we think of these as maybe they're too young to be your target demographic, but they're not. The millennial terminology includes 3 levels of generations, X, Y's, and Z's. So a lot of those are hitting that prime consumer target group, the 21 to 49 age group that we're trying to reach anyway. And many of those have never had a cable subscription ever. So they're not going to consume information on TV. They're going to stream it through Hulu or other sources like that. So one of the ways that we, as Google, innovates is we have click-to-message ads. First of all, messaging is the preferred media amongst something like 60% of all smartphone users. They definitely, I'm sure you're familiar with the demographic. My niece sitting in the back seat with her sister, they'll text each other before they'll talk to each other. They've grown up that way. She is now a 20-something-year-old, a strong consumer, and she still loves text messaging over calling somebody on the phone or talking to them in person. So if you're missing out on being able to send text messages, you're missing out on a great means of communication with this particular demographic. And this is how that workflow would look. So somebody would do a search. They might see the ad. They see the fact that they can have questions. They would send a text. They click that button and a response right away, or that they can send to you. In this case, the Westin chose to have a response that says, "I would like to know more, please text me back." That is what the consumer would be sending to you, the business owner. You would receive that either on a cell phone. If you're a small business, a lot of small business owners just choose to have this come directly into their own cell phone. But you can also have it come into a chat line that you might have for your website, as long as that chat is enabled, as Rev Marketing and Go2Karate all know how to set those up for you. This can be managed through your chat line on the website. 90% of text messages get responded to, and typically they're going to be responded to in about 3 minutes. So if somebody sends you a text message, they're expecting a quick response. Anywhere in that 3 to 5 minute range is golden, but having somebody respond back pretty quickly and starting that conversation back and forth with that text message user is awesome. This is just one of the ways that Google innovates to be able to take advantage of what we know consumer behavior is shifting to.
Yeah, and this is something we can help everybody that's on the call with when we do a follow-up call. One of the things.
There's a couple different ways you can use this information that you get from these leads. You can pre-qualify them. They might be asking, various methods. The goal here would be to convert the user via text, maybe to direct them to a sign-up sheet on your website, to direct them to where your schedule of classes are, or simply maybe to get them to make an appointment to come in to see the facility. You can generate phone leads from this as well. Obviously, when somebody generates that phone lead, generates that text to you, you have their phone number on record. You can simply use that to call them back at a later time. And you can use it to build a subscription list. This, of course, is with their permission. You can then send them updates on when maybe your next class schedule is going to start, or when you might have a new promotion going on or something along those lines. I know I'm going to use my niece again as an example. She was apartment hunting and provided her phone number to the apartment lists and that she was visiting. And anytime they had a new vacancy, they would reach out to her with a text message to let her know in case that she was still on the hunt for an apartment. That's one of the ways that you can use this. YouTube, I mentioned earlier, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. In fact, this morning when I had shown that there were 1.9 million Google searches at 9 a.m. today, there were 2.4 million videos already consumed on YouTube this morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That is, to me, kind of incredible. So it is huge. It's the second largest search engine that we have. It reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds in broadcaster TV. And this is from, I think, 2015 data. So that's only going up. YouTube is a channel of choice for many people. I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of people who have either cut the cord or they've never subscribed to cable. They do a lot of video consumption. Obviously, I just mentioned the numbers, 2.4 million videos this morning. And in that prime demographic, 18 to 49-year-olds, 80% of them have watched YouTube at least once during the month. YouTube viewership is going up 74% from 2015 to 2016, while TV viewership dropped during that same time period. So think about things that people do watch on videos. TED Talks, their favorite YouTube creators. YouTube actually has its own subculture of creators. For example, Conor McGregor is one that I was able to find in your niche. Lily Singh is another one, not in your niche, but one of the ones that's very popular. They have huge followings, a number of subscribers. I think Conor McGregor has 500,000 subscribers, but one of his videos has been watched something like 95 million times. It's incredible.
Yeah, so in other words, people are moving to YouTube instead of TV or instead of other ways they're consuming information.
Yeah, exactly. Where TV viewership is dropping, YouTube viewership is increasing. So, what's new though with YouTube, and how can we get YouTube to work for you? So, one of the things that we find with online advertisers is they get a little bit intimidated sometimes by video. They don't quite know how to put the information together. They're shy about having professional crew come out. So Google came up with a product called YouTube Director. This is an app that we have for the iPhone or the iPad that you can use to very quickly and easily create a YouTube video. It's a templated version. Basically, we go through different segments. For example, if your business is service oriented, if it's a store with product and inventory, if it's a service type business, or maybe you have an art business, in your case, obviously the classes. So you would choose the template that fits the type of business that you have. It walks you through the entire process. You can do voiceovers. You can type in your information for text overlays. It even helps to frame, like it'll tell you to put your camera in landscape or portrait mode as appropriate. It'll even give an outline of where you should be standing in that video. It walks you through what your mission statement is. If you take a look at some of the little slides that are showing up on here, you can see how some of the options are. What do you love about your work? Tell viewers how you got here. What's your mission statement? So you can go through all of this. And it only takes, if you know the messaging that you're going to put together, and again, a marketing company like Go2Karate can help you with your messaging and what your storyline should be as you put together a video. But then you can shoot it with your iPhone or iPad, put it together. We even offer background music so that your viewers aren't sitting there looking at a nice picture but no sound. So we have background music you can use. We tell you when to do the voiceovers. You can upload your logo. You can show your store or your facility. You could even have some action shots of a class going and taking place. All of this can be done in the space of about 20 minutes from start to finish. And if you don't like what you did on that first 20-minute episode, guess what? Erase it and try it again. You haven't paid anything for the app. You're not paying anybody for production crew. You have total control over this. So it's a really interesting app that you can try to download for, like I said, the Apple iPhone and the iPad. I'm going to try to give you a little sample here of what this walkthrough is. Let's see. I think we may be missing sound on this, so I apologize. But it's going to give you some screens where you can see what's going on here. These are some of the options, some of the screenshots it's going to direct you to go through. Again, coming up with a mission statement or just something about your business.
Which a lot of our guys have put together on their website. If they've done the website with us, then there's a lot of these messages are just what we've had you create for your website as well, and it's good that it's congruent with that.
Exactly. And it puts it out there in a very user-friendly manner. There's nothing intimidating about this app or what you need to do. Probably the biggest time channel on getting this video produced is going to be making sure your facility is clean and that it looks the way you want it to look on video. You might want to have your doors, the window washer come out and clean your door for your storefront. You might want to have some of your better students come in to demonstrate some moves for your class. But that's probably going to be the longest, most time-intensive segment of what happens here. So in here, it's directing them to pan your store of your inventory. Give them a few facts about your business. So far, they've done a 36-second commercial, and they're putting in some music for the background there. And now she has the option to publish it right there. She can publish it to YouTube right with the push of a button. So in about 15 to 20 minutes, somebody was able to shoot a video, complete with background sounds, text overlays, contact information, and she was able to publish it to YouTube. If she wanted to get some help with getting it online, she can do that as well.
Well, and then what we can help everybody with is setting up the video and making sure any problems with it.
This.
And what we can help them with is when they set up the video and help them with that, but also once they have the video, how to put that content up on the web, what to do with it once they get the video done, right?
Exactly.
So what you guys need to do with it from there is there's ways that you can use it online, and multiple ways you can use it, and that can be somewhat complicated. We can walk you through that too.
Most people trying to sell services or get more clients, even if it's for $500 or above, they don't do it because they simply said it wrong. Right? So if you think about it, 10 clients at $500 a month is just.
Okay. So to wrap this up, a couple of things we want to make sure that I've talked about this there. You want to make sure that when people are searching for something online, when they're doing that digital raising their hand, that you're there available for them, that you're providing useful information. One of the things that I'm proud of here at Google is that we don't allow misdirective information. We don't allow ads that are confusing to the search user or that redirect to a URL that is indicated on the ad. So we want to make sure that that end user has a good experience. And so you want to provide useful information for them. Your ads are going to rank higher and have a lower cost the more relevant you are to the search user that is on the ad looking for you. And if you could just mute your phone, I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. And the other thing, again, is being quick. Being quick is really crucial when we talk about the results that you're going to get. These are the checklists of things that you want to make sure any good, successful campaign is going to have. You're going to identify those moments. How do you know do you know what your customers are looking for when they're trying to find your services? The share of intent, those are how involved are your potential students with the I want moments, those I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, I want to buy. Know those and understand that so that when you have the conversations with your marketers, that you'll be able to help them out in developing that conversation. And they'll help you the other way. One of the best things about working with somebody like Go2Karate, Rev Marketing, is that they can help you determine what those moments are. Be useful. Have a blog on your website. Have instructional videos. The more information you can create for your potential students, the more opportunity they have to keep coming back to you. And then, again, you want to be quick. You want to eliminate the steps. You want to make it a seamless transition for people to get the information from your website and from your ads that they're looking for. And you want to load your sites really fast. So one of the last things was working with a Google partner. Why would you work with Go2Karate, or also known under the partner name of Rev Marketing to You? A couple of reasons. First of all, they've got a market knowledge. Beyond just knowing the overall online market, they know your niche very well. This is exclusively what they do, and they've got a lot of campaigns that they've been running over the years, and I'll have some data for that on that in just a second for you. But part of the Partners program, we have some thresholds that a partner has to hit, some hurdles they have to jump over. One of those is testing. And in addition to testing, they actually have to perform for their clients. We have some thresholds there as well, and our partner agencies have all hit the performance levels that we're looking for. And this isn't just something that they've done yesterday. They didn't just, let's take a few tests and hit a few numbers. No, they have to do this over time. We have a time requirement to what the partner agency thresholds are. So working with a Google partner agency like Go2Karate, Rev Marketing, gets you those 3 performance criteria that we know that they've met. And so I'm going to demonstrate a little bit here for you. This, when we talk about websites and getting results, think about the time that you've been on your phone your smartphone and you're looking for information, and the site loads very slowly. You're sitting there, you're waiting. You don't know if it's your connection. You don't know if it's the website. You're just going to hit the back button. You're going to go down to the next result on the search list to see if that gets you faster access. So page load speed is really critical for driving results. If you're trying to get somebody to get information about you through your website has to load quickly. Rev Marketing has been great in getting good results for their clients. 71% of the websites that they're managing load within 3 to 4 seconds. The rest of them load no longer than 6 seconds. Compared to the competitors that those saying that when you're in a auction to show up on the search page results, the sites that are competing with Go2Karate's clients, they take anywhere from 7 to 22 seconds, 60% of the time. So that's what the competitors are doing versus the results that Rev Marketing is getting / Go2Karate.
And that affects us in a lot of ways.
And we know that the faster a page loads, the more conversions we get. The more people are going to check out what your class schedule is. They might look at your videos. They might look at your locations. If you have one or more locations, they're going to be doing those things that we count as conversions much more readily when your sites load fast.
If I'm reading this graph right, it seems like it's the other sites that you're talking about in the red here. They're like, what is it? 88% of the time they're over 5 seconds.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And so whoever's been paying for those ads to be up against you, if they're spending money to get online and somebody clicks on their ad, they're probably going to get bounced out. They're wasting some of their advertising dollar because you're going to see a high abandon rate for people to go to those websites. Okay. If a site loads too quickly, if you look at the lower graph where it says 1.9% conversion rate, the lowest sites that load very quickly but have low conversion rates, those are pages that on the study, this is a study that was done by Soasta, a third-party company. Those were sites that were error pages. They were 404 errors. So since there's nothing to show on the website, it loads very quickly, and it loads very quickly, but there's nothing to do, so there's no conversions.
So in other words, sometimes it can be misleading because some sites will look like they're loading super fast, and they'll say get it down to 1 second, but that's like almost too fast because those are typically sites with no content on them.
No content, right. Or sometimes, occasionally, and this is where your agency comes into play, knowing user behavior and websites, how much information you load on a site early on can determine whether or not somebody's going to stick around to see the rest of it load. And sometimes if you load a site too fast with some elements, people might click on it not knowing that there's still more to load, and that can result in some incorrect clicks on the website itself because they might be clicking on a piece of on an element that still has the space is reserved for something else. Does that make sense?
Right. So the upshot of this is it's really important, particularly on mobile, that your site loads fast. And so, what we've been focusing on here in the Go2Karate client sites is that those sites are loading much faster than what typically is the competitor sites are doing. But it's really important, especially on mobile sites, that they load very, very fast.
Right. So, and again, those competitor sites are more or less in auctions where they might be winning the auction, they might be showing up on the search results, but they're going to get fewer conversions than what your clients are getting.
Gotcha. Even if they were on the page when they did the search, they won't.
Even if it's that top position, it's a waste of money because your clients, they're not going to get the conversions that your clients are getting based off of the speed here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so speed is critical. So what is the fact that, Rev Marketing, Go2Karate, in partnership with Google. What does that mean for you as the advertiser? It means you get the best performance you can get. You're going to get not only their dedicated market knowledge of your niche, you're going to get the teamwork that they have with us, because we have a dedicated account strategist that works with them on accounts, and we can get you access to beta programs. For example, that messaging app, messaging extension that we referenced earlier, that was rolled out to our partner agencies long before it was ever available to the general advertising public. So you can be on the front edge of different features that we have that we're trying to test and to roll out, and see if we can get you some better performance before anyone else has access to those. And then growth. The business model for Google is it's entirely based on two things: the search user's experience and the advertising client base that we have and their success. So we know that if the search user has a good experience and is provided information for their search that's relevant to what they're looking for, they're going to keep coming back and using Google products. And if you as an advertiser have success with your advertising, you're going to continue to advertise with us. From the agency standpoint, when your campaigns are successful, their business is successful. So really, everybody talks about the win-win situation. With online advertising that Google does, especially with our partners program, it really is a win-win all the way around the board, because we know we don't succeed unless the search user succeeds, unless the advertiser succeeds, and the agency succeed. All of us need to get what we're looking for out of the activities that were taking place online. And so this is really the crux of what we're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Okay, that concludes what I needed to do here today. Greg, I know that you have a follow-up piece.
Well, what we want to do is have some Q&A if anybody has any questions first, and see whether people have some questions on that. I had a question, actually. One thing that we had talked about before internally, and one thing we try to do with the Go2Karate sites is make sure that there's a lot of content on the pages. So even though the pages load fast, there's a lot more content on our pages, and that relates to whether it's found by Google in the organic search. And usually our sites launch with like 65 to 80 pages, where a lot of other karate or martial arts sites only have like 3 to 10 times less pages on their sites. And I know that doesn't necessarily relate to AdWords, but is that something or does it relate to AdWords, that the more content on the site, even though the page loads fast, there's a lot of content on our sites, and how does that help?
Well, number one, you're going to be the expert for the search engine optimization, the SEO part of it, which is what we talk about for organic search. Okay, so we want to make a distinction between paid search and organic search. My role and what I work with is paid search. Paid search is all about the landing page. Our algorithms look for what is the user searching for. What are the keywords that the advertiser is trying to capture? So if somebody is looking for karate classes and you have jujitsu classes, well, it's not the closest match in the world. But if there's nobody else in the auction with karate classes as a keyword, we'll match to you. We'll give you the jujitsu. It's close enough to karate. Maybe we'll have that as a match. But then if your landing page is only talking about jujitsu and not karate, you're not going to have a good relevance there as well. So all of those factors come into play when we talk about relevance to the search user. Again, if the search user looks for karate classes and they're driven to a site about jiu-jitsu that has nothing to talk about karate at all, it's not going to leave as strong of an impression in their mind. So we would discourage those kinds of ads from occurring by charging them more in the auction. So your cost per click is going to go up for something like that. Again, if as an agency, your experience is in knowing what people are looking for the industries that you're in. And when we monitor a campaign, we look at what the search terms are. What are the search terms that people are in those auctions for? And if we see a trend happening, we can make adjustments. So for example, Google did make recently an adjustment because people are now, it used to be until maybe I'd say 3 quarters ago, people typed in all their queries. You were online on a keyboard, you typed in your query. You were on your phone, you still typed in the query. Now, people are much more comfortable with the voice recognition devices that are out there, whether it's the Google Home, the little microphone button that we see here on the search screen that you might use your microphone to search for, or Alexa, any of the other Siri, all of those search engines and ways to search for things online, you're using your voice to do it. And when you use your voice to ask for something, you're going to do it differently than when you type it. The syntax is different. You might say, Siri, I need a karate facility near me. And Siri will give you a list of facilities. But if you're on your desktop, you're going to type in karate schools near me. You're not going to say, I want to find. You might not say, and now, even we found in the last 4 to 6 months, people aren't using the phrase near me as much as they used to, because they're educated that the search algorithms, you've all got location search on, and location is one of the parameters by which we qualify whether or not the lead should show up for you. So people know that they're gonna get results for whatever is near them. I did have somebody once that was rather surprised when they said, I want the closest business near me, and they only got one result. Well, that's because there's only one that is absolutely closest to where you are now. So that's how sophisticated those search algorithms can be. But the content on the page, going back to your question, could be related more to SEO than it is to pay-per-click. Because with pay-per-click, it's all about the landing page that you're asking us to send the click to.
Okay. Well, no, that's a good point that you made, though. And everybody needs to understand why. I think it illustrates a little bit of the issue that we have when we consult with people, whether it's on their online marketing or offline, or consulting in how their business operates. That a lot of these things are changing on a very rapid basis, and I don't think the speed of the change is going to be less rapid than it is now. I mean, you're talking about things that you guys are dealing with that's within the last quarter, where it's having somewhat, in certain cases, dramatic effects on the way you may need to adjust things and change things. And so, it'd be nice if we could build one website that would last for 20 years, or you could have one ad and it would last for 20 years, or one campaign and it would last for 20 years. But it just doesn't work that way, and it's not going to get any better. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the way that technology is working, and it sounds like in everything you guys are doing, that's even more true.
Exactly. The work that Google does, obviously, we develop products that we hope will be in line with what consumers are looking for across the Google complex. We always want to be on that cutting edge of innovation, but we also look at the trends of what's actually happening in the consumer world. We respond to what consumers are looking for, which is why we came up with text messaging. We respond with changes in the algorithm that makes mobile first. We want people to design their websites thinking about this mobile screen that it's going to be on before they think about the desktop screen that it's going to go to, because it's a much easier way to build the site when you're looking at it from that aspect as opposed to trying to reverse engineer a mobile site from a desktop site.
Well, and that's exactly the way the especially the newer sites that we're putting together for our clients and the ones we've been doing for years are designed that way. And let's move on to, because I know we scheduled an hour for this. I think we don't have that much time left.
Yeah.
This was perfect. And I had some list of some questions that we get asked commonly, but we wanted to open it up to Q&A from any of the people that are online and make sure we get some questions answered and that we can answer, and we've got our team here as well, and that Linda can answer. But we want to let everybody know as well that we're giving for everybody that's on the call here, you get, for anybody that's either is working with us or isn't working with us, you get $500 off for being on this call of any new marketing you're doing, or if you haven't done a website with us before, on a website that we initiate and build for you. And also, what we'd like to have everybody do is do a session with us, with one of our consultants, me or one of the other guys, for 30, 45 minutes to look at your online marketing. If you decide to work with us, that's great. If you don't and you're working with somebody else, that's fine too. But we can probably give you some hints and some ideas that'll help you implement some of the stuff that Linda's talked about and whatever else that you need to do online, so that we can really evaluate where you're at and where you need to go to. I know a lot of the guys that we work with are on the call here as well, and we've done that. But even if you're on the call and we've worked with you, we're currently working with you, please take advantage of that. I think we're going to post that somewhere. Shane and Andrew, you guys are on the call, so we can post that in the chat, or we'll email that out to everybody afterwards. But again, we'll give you $500 off any new marketing or any new website that you're going to do. So that can be used for whatever. So what questions do we have from the group that maybe we can cover?
I think Melissa has one.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to unmute you. There we go. Hi there.
I love the idea of the director. That is amazing. I had no idea that you even had that. But is that only for iPhone, or can you use it on an iPad?
iPhone and iPad, yes. It's a free app. Just look for it in the Apple Store and go ahead and download it and play around with it. I would love some feedback and see the video that you produce when you get one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can help you with where you would apply that, where would you use the video, and then how you would use that in your online marketing as well. So creating the video is important. We can help you with that too, but once you create it, then what do you do with it? And so that's what's going to be the next step that's big.
And one of the things with video is the director can create for you a 15, a 30 second, a 1 minute or longer video for you. Those different video lengths will have different uses in your marketing plan. And again, Greg and folks at Go2Karate can help you determine what length of video is best for what application. For example, we have bumper ads that show before other videos of content type videos that are 6 seconds long. They're very quick. The user doesn't get annoyed by having to skip through an ad because they can't. It's over by the time they've hit that skip button, period. And there's some really great creative ways that you can utilize that 6 seconds to get your message across and to get some good visibility. But we also have studies that talk about longer ads, ones that even go beyond a minute. There's some great content out there for folks that have done 3, 4, and 5 minute videos as ads, but people watch them. Over 10 billion minutes were spent during 2016 watching the top 10 ads. People actually want to watch some of these commercials.
Yeah, so you can't just make an assumption. I think one thing that we have a lot of people tell us, or we're on the phone with people and they say, well, yeah, but I like this, or I want that, or I want this. What we really got to base it on is results. We got to base things on data, and you've heard Linda talk a lot about data, and sometimes you need it shorter, sometimes you need it longer, and very often it's not what's intuitively obvious or what you think is the right way to do it. We want to base it on, and that's what we can help you with, is what is actually going to work and give you some results. So that's very important on all these things we're talking about, not just video. We get a lot of questions about what offer to use, and a lot of times people want to use a certain offer, and we recommend one. And what we do on our websites that we build now is we have offers that are split tested. So you have an A and a B offer, and we can split test them and see which one's really going to work. So that way you actually have data that determines which one's going to work better. And very often we have people wanting to use offer X, and that's they're really set on a certain offer. And do you want results, or do you want to use your thoughts? I'd rather have results. And you'd be surprised at how often the results are different than what you intuitively think. Would that be a fair statement, Linda?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, you mentioned the A/B testing. We recommend that ads run in rotation against that A/B testing so that we know which ones are performing best. Keywords, all of that is all data driven. When we have access to put information tags on your website so we can determine what user behavior is happening on those sites, that helps drive some of the ability to work towards results. The more information we have, and Google does a lot of these things for free. We have a lot of ways you can pump up the size of your ad on those search page results that will give you more exposure, give the search user more information about your business so that when they do click, they're actually know that they're clicking and why they're clicking. They're not clicking on something that they're not quite sure where it's going to take them to. And our Google partner agencies like Go2Karate, Rev Marketing, they know those tricks. They know all the ways to get your ads seen at the top for lower cost. They also know again, like I said, going back to YouTube, when to use a longer video versus a shorter video, and how to measure keywords and check all the numbers and bid adjustments. All of these things that are very tough for a lot of times. We see small businesses have tried AdWords in the past, and they kind of it didn't work for me. Well, that's because when I look at those campaigns, I see all the glaring issues of not following what we at Google consider to be best practices, and that's what's really where the partner agencies like Go2Karate come in, because they know all those tricks and the tips. They're out there. We put those things out there for free. Google Analytics is a free way to get user behavior information off your website. It's entirely free. It just takes a good webmaster to be able to implement it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line with most of this, and you could do all this stuff, and Google provides a lot of great tools to do these things on your own, but you're going to probably end up spending a lot more money, and you won't get as good results if you do it on your own, especially on the AdWords campaigns. We've kind of got those nailed. I had some other questions I'd want to go through, but I mean, I guess, with our time here, we can go a little bit over, I guess. I'm not sure what, Linda, your schedule is, but any other questions from the guys online? Whenever we have these, usually when I have my experience with meetings like this, we don't have a ton of questions. So I've got a few list of common things that we get that you guys might be interested in. But please, anybody, if you've got some questions, let us know. Well, I have a few things that we get asked a lot. One of the things that we get asked a lot, and I want to kind of bring it up and get some feedback from Linda and maybe even the rest of our team, is we get very common. We'll talk to somebody in Alaska for some help, or they've asked me for help in the past as a consultant, and they've got somebody in their school that might even have a little bit of experience on their doing websites, and they say, well, I've got a guy or a student or I'm doing my website myself. And why they should either have somebody more professional or somebody in the business do their website, or a company that specializes in martial arts sites do their website, versus just doing it themselves with one of these online places that they can do it for $5 or whatever.
It goes back to that graph we saw with the red and blue bars. They're probably getting sites that load in 7 to 22 seconds. They're probably that 60% of people that you're up against in the auctions that aren't going to get the conversions, because somebody websites that doesn't have any input into the pay-per-click side of things, even SEO, again, that's a little bit of a different beast. Even when they're where your wheelhouse is, it doesn't mean you know what the analytics behind the user behavior is and how it affects the marketing that goes along with that website. For example, form fills. That have form fills fields that are 10 or 15 fields long. And when you're on somebody's website, what do you want to fill out? Do you want to give them the name of your firstborn child? No. Yeah. You want your name, maybe your phone number, and an email address. And that should be those are the three criteria that really are going to get you somebody to fill out that form fill. Also, with a caveat that says we will not use your information to sell it to third-party services. That's got to be on there, so people can trust that you're not trying to be overly invasive and collecting too much information about them. That's going to lead to success. Does your neighbor that does web development, does he know this? Does he know how behavior of the consumer interacts with that site, and does he know how those elements affect the marketing and the success of a campaign? If he's not working with pay-per-click campaigns, then he doesn't know that information.
Well, and I think working with that type of campaign in the martial arts industry as well. I mean, we've spent so much time trying to build these sites and build them specifically for getting results, getting people that want martial arts lessons to come in it's a lot different. So we had people try to copy one person recently. They're actually on the call, and won't say who. Try to copy one of the sites, my website in particular, that for my school, and it was kind of a disaster. But it sort of kind of looked like my site. But what I also tell them is that background stuff, like what you brought up about the page load. Let me mute the guy that just came on. We appreciate you being here, but we're going to mute you. But the page load time was terrible. All the extra stuff, all the background stuff that needs to happen so that their search engine optimization, the SEO that you talked about, for anybody who didn't know what that term meant, all that background stuff wasn't done correctly. So it's not done correctly from just a website development point of view for the type of business we are, but from a martial arts point of view for the type of martial arts business we are, typically not done. And we're not, trying to slam people who are well-meaning and are trying to build a website. But we see these ads, build your own website, and that's probably okay if somebody just wants to put information out. But we're actually trying to advertise and get people to come in. And all the stuff you've talked about is, well, go ahead.
Well, across a lot of different industries that I work with in agencies, I see beautiful websites. They're gorgeous. They look fabulous. When I see them, I'm like, oh, awesome website. And then I test it on a site on our speed test, and it comes in at 12 or 15 seconds. I'm like, oh, no. Right. There are people that are great at the graphics, the visual presentation of information, but that doesn't mean it's going to get results in marketing.
Right.
So the bottom line is, what do the numbers say, and what kind of results are you getting for your business? And that's what we help agencies look at, especially Go2Karate Rev marketing.
Right. Well, perfect. Well, okay. Any other questions that we had? I had a couple other things I was going to ask you real quick, and I think we can go quick through this, unless you had to go. We got any other questions from the group? One thing that, and this may not be something that you were going to cover, but we get a lot of people wanting their website and they want to have their own pictures on it, like their pictures of them kicking or them doing martial arts. And they feel like, well, if my picture's on it or my instructor's pictures are on the website, then people, when they come in the school, will notice us. And what we found is that the images are really important. To have images that we've tested actually get response. So while your picture might be really good, you might be really good looking, and your kicks are really high and everything looks excellent, it's probably better, if you want better results, to use photos that we've tested and made sure are going to give you the best results, and then we do all the other manipulations with that we need to do. Linda, I don't know if you had any comments on that, but that's a common question that we get, and that's kind of our answer there.
Right. Well, one of the things with, I would entertain that thought of a locally produced photo if it's done by a professional photographer with the backgrounds that are not going to be, you don't want the antenna sticking out of your head in the back as you're doing the kick, or the poster behind you on the wall. So there's a lot of distractions that go on when people take photographs in their own facilities. The quality of the photos needs to be across platforms, because you're not just doing it for one. You're not doing it on a flyer. You're doing it on electronic media that might have all different sizes, and we don't want them to pixelate. So there's going to be some issues with using customer-provided visuals. But, hey, if they're done great, that's one thing, but you're obviously going to be the expert in this, and you know what you've worked with for stock photography for other sites. So I would defer to your judgment there.
Well, right, and what everybody needs to realize is that when we get those photos, there's a lot of work that goes into remanipulating them to do the stuff that you just said, that would need to go into changing them to make them fit the right angles and things that need to happen so that they go in the different parts of the website the right way. It's not just, everybody, I can take a picture with my iPhone and then shoot it out to the web on one of Apple's photo stream things, and I can send it to everybody here on the call in 2 seconds. But that's not the same as putting something on your, what's essentially a precious site that we're trying to make, that is trying to be the backbone of our business and really a marketing platform. And that's the way we like to talk about our sites, as marketing platforms. It's a platform for then doing all the other things that you need. We get a lot of people talking to us about, they have their website, and what we're talking about today is perfect for this. that they have their website, they're paying for their website, and they go, well, gee, we're getting a certain number of members or a certain number of leads, but we're paying this money for our website. Why aren't we getting more? Well, and what we're talking about all these things today is really the website's the foundation of that, the platform for that, but then adding pay-per-click, adding more organic marketing, adding other things, those other layers, particularly pay-per-click marketing and AdWords, is going to drive more traffic to your website. And if it's a strong foundation, then it'll work. If it's a weak foundation and your website's not very good, then you could drive more traffic there and it won't help. But if you just have the website there by itself, but you don't drive any more traffic, it seems to me that's like having a phone number for your school, but you don't tell anybody what it is.
Yeah, it's like having the guy in front of your. Well, sometimes when we talk about the website not being, the mismatch is the website good? If it's not, but you're advertising, it's like having the guy with the banner out in front of your store. They get to your store and the door's locked.
Right.
You have to have the good website to be able to get people in. Don't lock the door on your customers as they're trying to get in to see what you have to offer. Conversely, if you have the great store, but you don't have anybody out there waving a sign saying, hey, come on and check out what we have to offer, you better hope your location is really, 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 really good, right? So that's the analogy I would make to that, between the marketing and the web development side of things is, you got the sign guy out front as he's waving, he's getting people to take a look at you, but, is the door open?
And sometimes we have the follow-up problem to that, which is they're getting enough leads, they're getting enough traffic, they're getting to the website, they're creating the leads, and then from the lead, we're having to help a lot of our clients get from the lead, or some of you guys that are on the call are getting a lot of leads, but you're not getting them to set the appointment, they're not getting them to show, they're not getting them to enroll. That's a whole other stage of stuff that's really easy to fix if we can, and we can work with you on that too on that call. And like we said before, everybody gets, for being on this call, they get $500 credit to use for new marketing or for a website if you're not doing a website with us already, and also get some time with us to talk about your online marketing. If you want to work with us, that's great. If you don't, we're happy to talk to you for 30, 45 minutes to talk about some things that you can use, some of the things that we talked about today, and help you with some hints on how to implement this with however you're using it right now.
Some of the things, there's just a couple of things that I'd like to bring about before everyone heads off here.
Okay.
When you're thinking about your marketing, think about what you're trying to achieve. Obviously, you want new students. How many new students can you handle in a week? What's that number to you? Can you fill up one class? Do you have 5 slots to fill up? Do you have 100? Are you going to, let's say we got you 100. Would you have the facilities to handle it, or would you have to expand? Do you want to expand? Do you want to add staff? So these are the sorts of things you need to think about in your marketing, especially if you can come to your marketing agency with a number. I have 25 class spots that I need to fill every week. Tell us what you need. Tell us how much money you make on your classes. Tell us how much you'd be willing to pay that guy standing outside with a flag to bring in one new person into your store every day, into your school every day. How much would you pay to get one person to cross through the door to sign up for a class? What's that worth to you?
Well,
if they sign up for a month of classes, if they sign up for 6 months of classes, what's the difference there? How much does that affect your decision on how much you're willing to pay for that person to click on your ad, or to make a conversion on your website, or to make a phone call to you?
You're hitting the nail on the head for that, Linda, because that's what we talk to a lot of people about, and that's where I think a lot of owners struggle. Is they say, well, I don't want to pay more. I'm worried about what I'm paying, and I understand that. That's perfectly understandable that you got to worry about your budget. But what you need to use the measurement for what you spend on marketing is how much you get back out of the marketing, and you need to have a good handle on how much you make per student that you enroll. And that's something I would challenge everybody on the call, or everybody's listening to this, to think about a little bit before you talk to us, so that then we can do a good job of figuring out what you can afford to spend. I mean, if you're only making $50 for a student, then you can't afford to spend much. If you're making $2,000 or $3,000 per student you enroll, you can afford to spend more. You need to have a good handle on that so that you can know how to manage your marketing. And that's a good challenge for everybody on the call, and the right way to determine how you're going to move forward and how you're going to build your marketing programs.
Yeah, so absolutely. The homework challenge, I guess you could say, would be to look at your P&L, see how many students you processed last year, and what were your expenses against them, and your profitability, and see how much money you made per student, and use that when you have your first meeting with a marketing company.
Well, we can help you with figuring that out too. We do that all the time. That's one of the first questions I ask with people. So don't worry if that seems daunting or whatever. We can definitely help you. Before everybody leaves, while you're on the call here, I recommend you set an appointment. Andrew, are you on the call here? Maybe we can tell them the link to go to, or we can send that out, or we can put that on the chat.
I dropped that in the chat, and it'll be in a follow-up email as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a complicated, I can't even read it. So we're gonna have to send that in an email to everybody. Make sure today we're only gonna offer that today. So you gotta fill your form out to get that extra credit. So you might as well get the extra credit and set up a time. So you're gonna get an email with that link. And apologize, it's not an easier link. I can just tell you. But look for your email. If you don't get that, feel free to reach out and email us, and we'll be happy to send you that link and give you credit for the time that you spent today to take the time to work with us and try to help you get your martial arts school better. One of our goals is to help you guys grow your schools. If you do it with us, that's great. If you do it some other way, that's great too. That's why we're in the business, and that's why we try to help people. So anyway, Linda, you have anything else to add? Or are we good?
No, that concludes my portion here and my input. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to your client base and your potential advertisers.
Okay, everybody. Well, let's grow your schools. Set that time to talk to us. Get the credit for us, but at least set some time so we can work with you a little bit on your school, and we can help you grow from there, all right? So everybody have a great day, and let's work on growing your schools.